your pictures in the background. I love you speaking, doing what you're doing. Oh my God, this is so amazing. This is so beautiful. I love technology too. And especially when it works, right? Especially.
Exactly.
Yes, it looks like we are officially live. I am so excited, everyone. I hope this Thursday finds everybody feeling amazingly great. Today is April the 1st, which means that it's April Fool's Day. But guess what? We don't have no fools here. We're not doing any of that. We have amazingly, wonderfully made individuals out there, and we are here to share some amazing tips that will help you be your most amazing self. Dr. Will, I am so excited to have you and so excited to be talking to you today. But before we get any further, I really do want to reintroduce a platform. I think it's really important for those that are new time listeners, those who will be listening later, as well as welcoming those who have been here to listening to this platform for a while and who are avid followers. I just want to say that this platform was truly created out of a necessity and a need. I just saw an opportunity where we, as Dr. Will, Black women and women of color, we're not having platforms in which to share our talents and our skills. And I decided to create a platform that allowed us to do just that. A platform that would allow women of color and Black women to have a voice. The idea behind the platform is truly about highlighting both the journey and the success stories of professionals and entrepreneurs of color. We want to explore all the important and necessary information to help guide, inspire, and encourage all aspiring business owners and professionals of color. We plan to equip you with specific concrete examples and tools, tips, and tricks that will lead you towards your own success, not only in business, but in life. And that beckons the question, are you ready to get fit? Fit. What is fit, Cheryl? What is fit? Glad you asked. Fit stands for faith, intuition, and tenacity. It's a mental construct about how you engage with your life. Faith, having the ability to believe in the impossible. Your intuition, learning how to trust yourself and that internal system when it's talking to help navigate you. And then tenacity, just having the will within itself to get the job done. And today I am so excited because I'm bringing to you, I mean, a superstar, a super duper star, Dr. Will, who's going to talk about transformational leadership. And I want to make sure that you guys in the audience can hear me. So if somebody can just tap in the chat, Cheryl, I hear you. You can just be doing me a tremendous favor. And I just make sure that everybody's getting connected, everybody's tapping in to the information that we're going to be sharing with you today. Dr. Will, before I do your bio, welcome. Welcome to the platform.
Well, Cheryl, thank you so much. And before we even get started, I want to thank you for this opportunity and the platform that you have created for individuals like myself to come and share. So thank you for the space that you're holding in this world and the wonderful work that you're doing to empower so many people. I'm absolutely thrilled, been excited ever since you invited me to come to be with the Fit family. So I'm ready.
Yes! And I want you guys to know Dr. Will is fit. So before I even read his bio, I want you to tag a friend. Information is powerful only if you use it. So once you get the information, you write it down, then you have to apply it. But we need as many people on this journey as we possibly can. My goal is to reach 50 million women, Black women, women of color, and women this year. I can't do it without you. So tag a friend and grab a pen, a piece of paper, and begin to take notes because what we're talking about will truly transform your life. And I can see the eyes out there. Just tap in and make sure that you just let me know you can hear me, that you're here with me. I would just so graciously appreciate that. So with that, let me introduce to you Dr. Will Moreland. Dr. Will Moreland, um, before, and so Dr. Will, this is what I have to do. See, this is the part that I have to tell my age because I have to put on my glasses so I can see. So y'all, hold on. bio. Before retiring from professional speaking at the age of 43, Dr. Will was regarded as one of the most transformational speakers in the world. Now he devotes his time to training other speakers, authors, consultants, and leaders on how to maximize their voice. Dr. Will is an author of over 50 books. Oh my God. He has spoken at over 50 countries and 40 of the 50 states. He has been called the number one leadership development trainer and has worked with individuals from over 78 different industries. I am so excited to have this amazing opportunity to tap into you both mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Dr. Will, everybody, no matter where you are, stand up in your chairs. Give Dr. Will a round, warm welcome applause. This is how we do it in the digital world. It's all good. It's all good. Welcome, sir. How are you today?
I am fantastic. My grandmother used to say, anytime you're on this side of the dirt, you're having a great day. So I'm having a great day. I'm on this side of the dirt.
I like that, Dr. Will. Well, Dr. Will, we're going to dive right in because I asked Dr. Will to talk I talked with every speaker prior to the actual interview. He said, I'm more than prepared. There's not too much you can ask me that's going to stump me. So we'll get the chance to that. But Dr. Will, yeah, there we go. We're going to challenge. But Dr. Will, in all sincerity, I would love to ask you, like, this platform is all about being mentally fit, right? Fit, faith, intuition, and tenacity. I'd like to first start off, I really want to dive into that, and I really want to break down your journey as it aligns with that. But I want to know from you, what are you passionate about?
Yeah, that's a great question, and a question that I've invested a great deal of time with, almost a decade of really trying to find out what I'm really passionate about. And what I found out is I'm passionate about an array of things, right? I'm not a monolithic person. There's a lot of things that I'm passionate. I'm passionate about my family. I'm passionate about helping other people. I'm passionate about building a successful company. I'm passionate about my opportunity to share with different audiences around the world. I'm passionate about traveling. And so if I really think about it all throughout my life, as I get exposed to different things and as I experience different things, my passion kind of evolves. It doesn't just stay in one area. I'm passionate about working with speakers and authors and consultants and helping them amplify their voice. I'm passionate about helping our youth find their place in this planet. So there's an array of things that I'm passionate about.
So I love all the things that you just aligned with, because helping people is what we're here to do. And what we're here to do is truly encourage people. So one of the things that I have found a lot that comes up in conversation a lot, especially going through the pandemic and everything that we're going through, is people are really struggling with how to redefine themselves, how to rebrand themselves in this new digital age. And I'd love to get your thoughts and ideas about, talk about transformational leadership. How would you tell these individuals to transform so that they can be more competitive in the current landscape that we are operating?
And one of the things that I found out in my work that I've been doing for the last 20 years is no matter what we face in this life, there's always going to be multiple realities. And so whatever we're going through, you have to ask yourself, what is that reality for you? For some people, the sky is falling. For some other people, it's the greatest time to be alive because there's so many different opportunities out there. So one of the first things you have to do is decide, how am I going to go through this pandemic? Am I going to go through this pandemic as if the sky is falling? Or am I going to go through this pandemic as if this is the best time to be alive. Now is my opportunity. I've probably been praying for change. I've probably been praying for new opportunities. And now the universe has brought it to me. And so mentally, this is what being fit
That's okay. We got stuck.
what is your mindset about the pandemic mindset right now? So that's the choice that you have to make. Literally, how are you going to go through this pandemic? I know there's many families that have been affected by the pandemic, whether it's loss of job, whether it's loss of loved ones. But then when you stop and say, okay, I get all of that, I see all the external things that are happening, but what's really happening in my life, and what are some of the opportunities that maybe I'm missing that I can take advantage of?
Well, one of the things I want to let you know, we're seeing some social many breaking up in the conversation, so your ego is just FYI. But you hit on so many different things, and one of the things I love most that you said is, this is an opportunity. You're going to look at the cup as being half empty or half full. What are you going to do, or what is it that you want to do? Have you sat down and thought about what you want to do, or have you gotten caught up in the hype? And I think it's so easy to focus on the things that are in the past. We can't do anything about the pandemic here. We can't do. There's a lot that we can do about the pandemic in terms of what we've been advised to do: social distancing, wearing our masks, keeping your hands clean. There are things that we can do in regards to the racial pandemic that's happening right now. Racial equality, by standing up, taking a voice, creating platforms like this, creating opportunities where people can get to showcase their talent. There are things that we can do in our businesses, partnering, collaboration. So you spoke to all of that. Doctor, people still find themselves challenged. So when you reach a hurdle, like we all do, how do you use some of the things of your Genius, one of the programs that you offer is Genius Academy, correct? How do you coach people in that leadership ability to really turn that skill into action, into deliverable results?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. So one of the things that I do with my clients is um, I try to get everybody to come to a place where they live from their core. And core, CORE, is an acronym that stands for clarity, opportunities, relationships, and experiences. So I try to help everyone live from their core. And the first element of that is to get clear on who you are, and where you want to go. A lot of times, Cheryl, what we do is we create realities that don't exist, right?
Wow.
We create these realities that don't exist. So one of the first questions I ask all my clients when we're talking is, whenever they tell me something, they may say, I want to start a business, but we're in a pandemic and it's so tough. So I ask them, I say, well, is that really true? Is it really true that it's tough to start a business? And so then they think about it. And when we talk about just starting a business, I'm talking about going online, signing up and getting your LLC. Well, that's not very difficult. You can go online and do that. It takes you about 15 minutes to do a name search to pay for your LLC. So is it really true that it's hard to start a pandemic or start a business in a pandemic? And then they say, well, no. So then I said, well, if you've been lying to yourself about that, how many other things have you been lying to yourself about? And so then we start uncovering all the lies that they've been telling themselves. It's hard as a black man. It's hard as a woman. It's hard as a man. It's hard as a short person. It's hard as a tall person. It's hard as a skinny person. Hard as a fat person. We tell ourselves, and here's something about the past, right? 2020. We all get to say what 2020 was to us, right? And if you ask 20 different people have a different reality about 2020. Because, Cheryl, we get to make up the past. If I ask you, Cheryl, what was 2020 to you? You may say 2020 was the worst year ever. I asked somebody else. You asked Elon Musk. Elon Musk said it was the year that I became the second richest man in the world. It was fabulous for me. You asked Jeff Bezos, what was 2020? Jeff Bezos says, man, that's the year I became a trillionaire. You asked the gentleman that owns Zoom. He says that's the year that I went from struggling to becoming one of the top 10 billionaires in the world. So it depends on who you're asking, right? And we get to create history. History is made up. History is made up. When you think about it, we make up history. You know, that individual that got a divorce, for somebody, it was the worst day of their life. For someone else, it was their day of freedom. You know, for years, I'll share this experience. When I was a young man, I got molested. And for a majority of my life, I acted as a victim until I made the choice to say, that wasn't the day I became a victim. That was the day that I learned the power of forgiveness.
Oh my God.
And so for me, I shifted my perspective on that experience. For 15 years, it was a day that I was ashamed of. It was a day that my manhood was questioned, until I shifted it to say, oh, that was the day that I learned the power of forgiveness. So Cheryl, if you talked about me, it's easy for me to forgive you because I forgave the man that molested me. And so if I can forgive the man that molested me, I can forgive anybody of anything. And that's when I became a powerful person.
Well, I'm sitting here right now, and I'm having an emotional reaction to what you just said. You said so much that if you don't tag a friend right now, you are going to miss a blessing. You're going to miss giving a friend a blessing. You don't tag someone right now. This is meant to be a dialogue, not a monologue. This man just shared something with you that was so powerful that if you don't just get that one bit, you truly missed an opportunity. First of all, Dr. Will, let me thank you for being so vulnerable. Secondly, the power in what you just said. You said create, and you said clarity, and you said history was made up, and we get to make it up moving forward. You use the example of one man's version of what's happening versus another person's version. I like Elon Musk's version of life and on the creativity of becoming whoever I think I want to be. Not who you, not you, Dr. Bill, but the world tells me I can't or cannot be as a black woman or a woman of color. How I can wear my hair or not wear my hair, or color my hair or not color my hair. But the power in you being able to be vulnerable right now and say you were molested as a child. And there were two stories that you could have walked away with. One story was being a victim. Of course, when you choose that story, you also got to take along with it all the baggage that it carries. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I can never succeed. I'm ruined. I'm a bad person, or I can never be clean. Or you take that, or you could take on, no, I'm a grown man. Not only a grown man, I'm a grown ass man that can make choices that empower me, that endure me. You retired. Excuse me, people who are listening. I said the man retired at 43. I hope you don't mind me sharing with the world. I will be actually speaking with Dr. Moreland in the beautiful, beautiful island of St. Martin in December. And thanks to Dr. Nicole and her amazing husband, Roy Cotton Jr., this opportunity is going to come up, and I'll give you guys a chance to be able to register for that. But you owning this, you have a property there, you have a property in Arizona, you're living your best life and you retired at 43. People, if you're not there, this is something you might want to listen to. You might want to tag somebody and not just be a spectator. So how did you go? How did you get there, Dr. Will? Because that's a lot. To say you went from victim to victorious, how did you make that choice? It's one thing to tell me to be clear and be creative. I get that. Conceptually, I get that. But there's something that has to shift somewhere in your body. Please unpack that for me. You gotta unpack that for me.
Yeah, so you have to wake up one day and you have to ask yourself once again, how am I going to live the rest of my life? How am I going to live the rest of my life? Am I going to live the rest of my life as a victim? And you have to start asking yourself, the things that you say are holding you back, are those things ever going to change? You know, I was raised in Compton, California, raised by a single mother, had a limited relationship with my father, found myself getting in trouble on the wrong side of the law, found myself gang banging, found myself selling drugs, found myself doing really destructive things. And the things that I said was the reason for me doing all that destructive stuff, was I ever going to be able to change my relationship with my father? Was I ever going to be able to change the fact that I was raised in Compton, California? Was I ever going to change the fact that I was raised by a single mother? When I realized none of that was going to change. So then I'm at this crossroads and I say, okay, either I use these excuses for the rest of my life, or I say, is it true that because I was a gang, because I was a drug dealer, and because I had a single mother, and because I had a limited relationship with my father, is it true that any of that is enough to stop who God designed me to be? And so either what God designed me to be is more powerful than anything that I've ever experienced, or what I experienced is more powerful than who God designed me to be. Once I made the choice that who God designed me to be, and before I made any mistake, before I went to jail, before I sold drugs, before I gangbanged, before the foundation of the world, He ordained me to be who I was supposed to be. All I had to do was get back in alignment with who He said I was. And once I got in alignment with who He said I was, that trumped everything I did. Will, you're called to reach the nations, trumps that you was a former gangbanger. Will, you're called to reach the nations, trumped that you sold drugs. Will, you're called to reach the nations, trumped that you were in jail. Will, you're called to reach the nations, trumped that you had a single mother, Trump that you were molested, Trump that you were shot, Trump that you made mistakes, Trump that you failed, trumped everything. And so now once I got into alignment, greater is He that is in me than he that's in the world. Meaning any label that the world gave me, meaning any statistic that the world gave me, greater was working on the inside of me. And I had to make the choice, and it's a choice that I have to make every single day to let my greatness out. It's not something that just happens one time. Every year, the farmer has to go back and prune that ground. Every year, that farmer has to go back and work that ground. Every year, that farmer has to go and plant some new seeds. It's not enough that he planted seeds 10 years ago. It's not enough that she planted seeds 20 years ago. Every season that is planting season, I have to be planting. And so for me, this work that I've been doing, transformational leadership, I'm so passionate about transformational leadership because transformational leadership started with me. You know, there was a commercial, I'll date myself. There was a commercial back in the early 80s about it was a hair care product for men. And the gentleman came up and he said, I'm not only the president of the hair care, but I'm also a client. And so I'm my number one client. So whatever I'm sharing with anybody, I'm sharing it from a place of confidence because I'm the first user of the product. So whatever I'm sharing with your audience, they can have an assurity that it works because I used it first. I'm not going to share anything with you that's not going to work. I'm only sharing with you the things that I've done that have absolutely worked in my life. And the first thing was making that choice. Whoever's listening to me right now, today can be your day. Today can be your New Year's. April 1st can be your New Year's, the day that you say, you know what? I'm more than a conqueror. I've been destined for more than this. I wasn't born just to go and have a job and work a job and pay bills. There's more on the inside of me. And when you tap into that and when you accept it, I had to accept it. Beyond my mistakes, beyond me being in jail, beyond me being a drug dealer, I had to accept it. Because God can't work in your life. He's not going to force you to be who he called you to be. He's not going to make you be who he called you to be. You have to accept it. Moses had to accept it. Joshua had to accept it. Peter had to accept it. Paul had to accept it. You have to accept that you're more than a conqueror. You have to accept that there's greatness on the inside of you. Until you accept it, just like you accepted salvation, you got to accept your greatness. And once you accept your greatness, now God can start working through you.
Woo! Dr. Will, Dr. Will. That right there is a mouthful if somebody needs to move by that. I just have to say to you, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're doing, because he is speaking to the very essence of what's possible. Dr. Will, I appreciate this so much because people refer to me the opposite. Oh, you're always happy. And I said, you don't understand what I need to do to get to this every single day. The work that I do behind the scenes that you don't see. The reading of the books, the research, aligning with other like minds. And I know people right now, there's a lot of hurting people out there, Dr. Will. They're hurting. But what he just said to you is stop. Today is your New Year's. It's New Year's today, April 1st. You get to make another choice. Dr. Will, I swear I have goosebumps on my skin because the message is so powerful. I'm going to say this again. If you haven't tagged a friend, please do. They're missing out on a blessing. Number 2, this is a dialogue. I have Dr. Will here so that you can ask questions. You get access to individuals that look like you, that have been where you're trying to go. And maybe they don't look like you, but ask the question anyway. All are willing or able. Ask the question. Dr. Will, I hope I say your name right. Altavis, thank you for joining in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. It is so important. So, Dr. Will, you've given us some things. You said about focus, really what our focus is, and which I do franchises is what my team calls them. And every day we do motivational Mondays, like motivational Tuesdays, etc. Really trying to give people motivation to do their absolute best. And today's post was about whatever you focus on expands. And I think that's an Oprah Winfrey quote, but I so believe in the philosophy. What are you focused on? And I challenge people today, I challenge them to start today fresh, 30 days. Start thinking about positive thoughts and see how that starts to resonate in your life. How do you feel about that technique or believe in that philosophy?
Oh, I wholeheartedly believe says life and death is in the power of the tongue. And then there's, that famous book, Think and Grow Rich. And when you start to understand that literally your words shape your universe, your words shape your universe. And sure, I don't believe that we believe that enough. And if we believed it enough, we wouldn't be so careless with our words. But for the last 25 years, I've been shaping my universe with my words. I've been shaping my universe with my words. I'm at a point now where I honestly have to ask myself, Will, do you really want it? Do you really want it? Because if I say it, it's going to manifest in my life. That's where I'm vibrating right now. So I now have to ask myself before I say something, Will, do you really want it? Because it's going to manifest. And just like you challenge your team to do this 30-day exercise, I challenge anybody that hangs out with me. I don't let any negative people hang out with me, right? I don't let you're not going to be able to be negative for a long period of time, because once again, it starts with the questions. I ask people all the time, okay, you were thinking negative in that situation. Did it change anything? You were being frustrated in that situation. Did it change anything? You were being stressed out in that situation. Did it change anything? And myself, this is the work that I've done myself. In all these situations, you either get to be, the Bible says, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God. And so when I read these types of scriptures, I challenge myself. Okay, well, how can I be thankful in every situation? I'm driving down the street and I get a flat tire. You're telling me I should be thankful for the flat tire? No, what you should be thankful for is that you got 3 other tires, you got a spare, you got a cell phone, you got AAA, you're on your way to a job that's paying you so you can pay your mortgage, so you can put gas in the car, so you can get out and go to the grocery store and put some groceries in your car, put them back in the house, so you can see there's always reasons to rejoice. And so in everything give thanks. For this is the will of God. What is the will of God? For you to have this type of mindset that you can't lose. That's the mindset that you can't lose, because all things are working together for my good. So if I got this flat tire, it's working for my good. I may not see it yet, I don't understand it yet, but I got to understand that maybe this flat tire helped avoid an accident that I was going to get into up the road. You know, my grandmother used to always make these cakes, and she would get the flour, and she would get the eggs, and she would get the sugar, and she would get the cinnamon. And Cheryl, these elements by themselves, if you eat flour by itself, flour is not good by itself. If you eat that raw egg is not good by itself. If you eat sugar, it tastes good, but too much sugar by itself is not good. But if you start to mix it all together, you put the batter all together, right? And you begin to stir it up. You begin to stir it up. And then you put the oven on. You put that oven on, and then you put that batter and all that together. You put the divorce in the bowl. You put Big Mama dying in the bowl. You put losing your job in the bowl. You put the disappointment in the bowl. And the directions say it's going to be a little lumpy, but just keep stirring. What that means is keep living. It's going to get a little bumpy on this road, but you just keep living. And then you put all of that in this pan, and you put the pan in the oven. And when you put that pan in the oven, a lot of people think this pandemic, a lot of people think that the heat that they're feeling, they think that heat is to burn them, but that heat is really to help them rise. That heat is helping you rise. And if you can just stand the heat, what God is trying to do is make you consumable. He's trying to make you consume. See, that batter by itself is not consumable. I remember my grandmother, we would want to lick in the bowl. But my grandmother said, no, you don't want to lick the bowl. The bowl is not what we're trying to make. That's not what we're trying to make. We're not trying to make the batter. But if you would give it some time, my grandmother said, just give it some time. Get away from that kitchen. Get away from that oven. Stop opening up that oven door and just let the process take place. And so now I'm thinking that this heat is trying to burn me, but this heat is really making me. It's the same thing that happened with Jesus. The Bible says, for his stripes, we are healed. And so I realized that everything that happened to me, it really didn't happen to me. It was happening for me. Why? Because the mission and the assignment God had for me. So when I got molested, the molestation wasn't for me. It was for the thousands of young men that were in that situation that I was going to be talking to that said, wait, Dr. Will, you don't understand, but I got molested. And I can say, I did too, and you can make it. So when I went to jail, it wasn't really for me. It was for the thousands of individuals that I talk to now, that when I go into the prison, but they say, Dr. Will, how can I change my life around? I've been in prison. And I say, me too, and you can still make it. And so what about that gangbanger that tells me, but you don't understand, I grew up in this environment, I've been claiming this set my whole life, how can I really change? How can I be a better father? I say, I was there too, and you can make it. And so now you're looking at all the hell you've been through, and all the hell you've been through is all about the platform. See, I tell people this all the time. I now, because I was raised in Compton, California, I can go talk to those men in Compton, and then the very next day I can be in the White House, because now the breadth of experiences that I've had. See, there's some people, Cheryl, that can't come to Oakland. They can't come to Oakland. But see, you can go from Oakland to Dubai and don't even trip. You can go to Oakland to St. Martin and relate to people in St. Martin and relate to people in Oakland. Some people can't do that. And so when I started looking at all the things that I've been through it so I can help other people. And so now, by all of my stripes, other people are transformed. I didn't mean to go that long, but yeah, in short, that's the answer. That's the answer.
Don't you stop. I'm over here having church all by myself. All by myself. Because when the Spirit's talking, you can't stop it. You have to let it go. And this is exactly what my audience needs to hear, Dr. Will, because too often we want to talk about what's not working. Too often we always want to focus on the door that's closed. Too often we always want to focus on the negativity, what's going on in the news, and what the news say we can't do, and what history says we can't do. We are not focused, and we should be focused on ourselves. On ourselves. You have been a blessing for me today. I love doing the work that I do, because it gives me an opportunity to exchange with powerful individuals like you. And it baffles me that we live in a world that doesn't have a platform for us. So that's okay, because Dr. Will, you just said it. If God gave it, it's up to me to create the platform so that it can exist. And I'm doing that right now with you. I just want to say, if you're on or you're listening, please tag a friend. We only have an hour. As a matter of fact, we're already down to the last 30 minutes or 20 minutes of this dialogue. This will change your life. If it didn't change you, I promise it has changed you today. And I'm forever striving to get better. So Dr. Will, I can't just stop there. That cake analogy just did everything for me. That cake analogy just picked it up. And I've heard that before, but the context in which you put it made so much sense, that we're always focusing on one thing and not the whole. And as we begin to transition. So I just want to say to you, one of the questions I often ask is about being fit. Faith and fitness, that's what I stand for. You describe over and over and over again what fit stands for. It's the genius mindset. It's the fit mindset. It's about how do you get from here to there. And I just want to say to you, you shared so many different examples. How does one align themselves? Because I'm of the mindset, Dr. Moore, that we're in a new arena. We're in a new paradigm shift, new world that we entered, we're entering back into. It's truly one that I won't say how to ever go away, but I will take this. I believe with more power in community. I'd love to get your thoughts on community and being around like minds. And one of the things you said before you answered the question that really resonated was that you don't stay around negative people. And I can't either. I'm not a gossiper. I'm not talking about anybody. I don't, what are your thoughts about collaboration and how we build strong communities moving forward?
Yeah, I always tell my clients that collaboration is powerful currency. Collaboration is powerful currency. The Bible tells us two heads better than one. And so when you start thinking about the power of collaboration, and what it can do for you. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. And so when we start thinking about this concept of working together, when we think of this working together, years ago, when we talk about creation, I know a lot of people, they say, well, you know what? I'm the only one in my circle that thinks like I think, or I'm the only one in my family that thinks like I think. It's hard for me to find people that are like-minded. Well, you literally have to create, right? You have to create your winning team. And sometimes the team that you're on is not committed to winning. To use a basketball analogy, I remember when LeBron James, he was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they weren't committed to winning. So he had to leave Cleveland and go to Miami because he saw Miami was committed to winning. So you got to start asking yourself those questions again. The people that I'm around, are they committed to winning? How can two walk together unless they be a team? And I'll take you back 25 years ago. I had a very dear friend. We used to hang out all the time, hung out on the weekends, just all the time. And when I decided to make the choice to change my life, he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He wanted to continue to do what he was doing. And I had to make at that time the hardest choice I'd ever made. And it was to sever that relationship at that time because we were no longer like-minded. I wanted to go this way. He wanted to go that way. And it was the hardest thing that I ever had to do, but it was necessary. And some of you are holding on to relationships that are holding you back. And so what you need to do is a relationship evaluation, a relationship assessment. And you need to go to everybody in your life. Is this person helping me or holding me back? Is this person helping me or holding me back? Is this person helping me or holding me back? And you need to literally take down a list of people, because you've heard birds of a feather flock together. You've heard the analogy, if you're hanging around 9 broke people, you're going to be the 10th. This is psychologically proven. Right? Scientifically proven that you cannot outdo your circle. You cannot literally outdo your circle. Even when you're not trying to be influenced by them, you're going to be influenced by them. So you got to be very careful about who you've been influenced by. So I began to do this evaluation of who I was hanging out with. And in that short period of time, when I severed that relationship and I got dialed in and I got focused, my life began to take a different trajectory. And now I have a group of friends. It's about 10 of us that were real close. We've been close for the last 20 years. And we all met when we were serving in the Army. And we were living in Germany together. And we decided all to move to Arizona together to continue to do family and to continue to build life. And once again, as I told you earlier, I'm not going to share anything that I experienced in my life that's not true. And I had to create, right? Some of you are saying, well, I don't have that type of family. Well, go create it. And it may not come from your blood family. These individuals weren't my blood, but these were individuals that were like-minded. These were individuals that said, you know what? Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. These were individuals that said, you know what? We're committed to living our best life. These were individuals that said, you know what? This is how we want to raise our children. These are individuals that said, you know what? This is how we want to experience life. And so we've been knitted together for the last 20 years, and everybody in our circle is winning. Literally, everybody in our circle is winning, and we challenge each other and we pray for each other, and we ensure that everybody is going to win. Everybody's going to win. That's the commitment we've made to each other, that everybody's going to win. And so we challenge each other, we correct each other, we love on each other, we laugh with each other, and but we're committed to winning in life. And you said something earlier, Cheryl, how so many of us want to make excuses. We have to get to the point where we have this in spite of. In spite of, I'm going to win. In spite of being a black man in America, I'm in. In spite of racism, I'm going to win. In spite of not being born on the right side of the tracks, I'm going to win. In spite of pandemic, I'm going to prosper. In spite of. And that just may be our journey, right? That just may be your journey. Whatever your in spite of journey may be. I wasn't raised with my family. Okay, that's just your journey. I was adopted. Okay, that just happens to be your in spite of. All of us have an in spite of, but you have to have the mindset that says in spite of. This is what the Bible says. The Bible says you will reap if you faint not. You will reap if you faint not. And so the race is not given to the swift. The race is not given to the powerful. The race is to the person that can endure. The person that says, in spite of, I may have to wake up a little bit earlier, but I'm going to wake up. I may have to travel a little bit further, but I'm going to do it. You know, Cheryl, it's like if you live across the street from the airport and the flight leaves at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you live across the street. Well, you may be able to get up at 6:30 and still make the flight. I may live 2 hours from the airport, but if I want to get on that 7 o'clock flight, I got to do what I got to do. I can't just sit back and say, it's not fair, Cheryl lives across the street. Do you want to get on the plane? If you want to get on the plane, then you have to get up earlier. You may have to travel 50 miles, but the question is, do you want to get on the plane? The question is not about Cheryl lives across the street and she don't have to get up at 5 o'clock. The question is, do you want to get on the plane? Do you want to go to the destination that the plane is going to? And so whether I have to travel 2 hours, whether I have to get up 3 hours earlier, the question is, do I want to get on the plane? So for everybody that's listening to us, do you want to get on the plane? Do you want to go to the destination that the plane is going to? So yeah, we may have some in spite ofs, but in spite of doesn't mean denied. In spite of means I may have to work a little bit harder. In spite of means I have to get up earlier. I get it. I know what it means to be an African American in America. But in spite of all that, I determine that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. So either God is God, and he that's in you can defeat racism, or either racism's stronger than God. You get to choose.
Yes.
Which one? Either racism is stronger than God, or God is stronger than racism. That's just those are just the two choices. Those are just the two choices, right? And so Moses said to the people like this: choose you this day. Choose you this day. Right? I set before you life and death. And then he said, I'm not going to even leave it to you. He says, choose life. Some of you may be on the slow bus, so I'm not going to even leave it to you. I'm going to give you the answer to the test. Choose life. He's going to set before you today life and death. But I'm not going to even leave it to you, because some of you may be on the slow bus. He says, choose life. And then here comes Jesus saying, I come that you may have life and have it life more abundantly. Choose abundance. I've been broke. Broke is not fun. I've been poor. Poor is not fun. I've been in lack. Lack is not fun. I know what it means to say, let me know before you get to $20 before I go over. I know what it feels like to say, oh, let me put a little gas in the car and still have a little, if I put too much over here, I'm not going to have a, that's not fun. So I choose abundance.
I choose abundance. I choose abundance. I don't know about y'all, but I choose abundance. I choose abundance. I'm getting on the plane. I'm on the plane. I'm on the plane. I'm on the jet. Look. I'm on the jet. That's my philosophy. And I would recommend anybody out there listening, oh my God, do we have any questions from the audience? I see you out there. Do we have any questions? We have an opportunity of this brilliant, amazing human being to ask questions you've ever wanted to ask. now's your time. Now's your time. So while we're waiting for them to gear up, I just want to say, my. I have to tell you, Dr. Bill, okay, this is kind of funny. It's kind of an inside joke, so maybe some of you will tag along. But I have been on so many calls. I'm moving a mile a minute, and I learned a very valuable lesson today. Because in my moving, sometimes I don't. You gotta stop to smell the roses. You gotta stop to smell the coffee. Dr. Will and I have been on previous conference calls together, but there's a multitude of us that are going to be doing this presentation in St. Martin, which I can't wait to share with you guys. As a matter of fact, I do want you to sign up. I personally have 10 slots that I'm holding. You get a discount rate. I really would love to have my people go to St. Martin with me for this transformational leadership workshop, of which I'm doing with Dr. Bill. But if you didn't register to me, and I was actually had the president of the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce, Ron Busby, and you chimed in while we were interviewing. And after I talked to Ron said, that is an amazing guy. You need to have him on your platform. And of course, if Ron says it, it's like, okay, they can get them. Dr. Will, would you be on the platform? He's like, sure. And then somewhere along the way, I'm like, Dr. Will, Dr. Will. And then I realized, Dr. Will, that we're going to be on the platform together. So, Dr. Will, but this was a blessing because you touched me in a way that I can't even begin to tell you. As a speaker, as a person who is here to uplift others, you just inspired me to a whole new level. And anybody who's listening, if you didn't get that same inspiration, I'm going to tell you to hit the pause button and go back to the beginning of this dialogue. Dr. Will, how do we support somebody? Here's the question. Wait a minute. Altuvis, I want to say your name so correctly, so I hope I did. Altuvis wants to know, Dr. Will, what's the first step?
Simple, simple. The first step is choice. Just make a choice, right? Just say wherever you are right now, I want to be different. I want life to be different. You don't have to have it all figured out. That's the faith part, right? The faith part is not having to have it all figured out. If you had it all figured out, you wouldn't need faith. But the first thing is just to make the choice. Like, my life is going to be different. I don't know how it's going to be different. I don't know what I need to do to make it different. I don't know how it's all going to come together. But just say, I want my life to be different. That's literally what I did. I read a book years ago, and I said, you know what? I want to duplicate that. I didn't know how I was going to do it. The book was by Reginald F. Lewis. It said, why should white guys have all the fun? Why should white guys have all the fun? And I read that book, and I saw a gentleman who looked like me, who came from similar situation as me, and he was the first black billionaire, bought a $1 billion company, Beatrice International. And I said, I want that for me. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I said, I want that for me. And I was looking at the cover of his book, and I said, well, the closest thing I can do today is go buy a suit so I can look like him. He has on a suit. Let me go get a suit on. And that was the first thing I did. That was the first step, right? But the first was a choice. And there's a parable that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And Cheryl, all throughout my life, whenever I was ready to go through to the next level, a teacher always appeared and was there for me. But it was me making a choice. Just saying, you know what? I'm not going to settle anymore in life. I'm not going to settle for that label. I'm not going to settle for that. I just believe that there's more for me, and I don't know how all that's going to play out, but I'm choosing today, April the 1st, 2021, that life for me is going to be different. Life for me is going to be different. Don't try to figure it all out. Just make the choice.
Oh my God. Today I'm making a choice. Life is going to be different. And the thing that I do know, Dr. Bill, is that at every level there's a new devil. At every level there's a new devil. That's why our work is never done. It's not about getting to a point. It is about forever learning how to level up. That's life. Because life is about learning. It's about growing. It's about becoming a better version of yourself consistently. And so I make a choice and I'm going to make it every day that I get up. So rather than looking at the opposite of my life, this is not to say this isn't any fairy dust. It's not to make light of anything that you're experiencing. It's to share with you in spite of. It's like we just said, in spite of. It doesn't matter. We're not going to allow anything that's going to deter us from our greatness. And I'm a firm believer of greater is He that is in you than He that is in the world. I believe that. I stand by it and I stand on it. And it's been my testimony. Dr. Will, I have to ask you this question. How do we support you?
Simply, I love to connect with people. My social media is Dr. Will Speaks. So just simply go to Dr. Will Speaks, DrWillSpeaks, on all social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, Dr. Will Speaks. Just look me up, reach out. I love to connect. My goal, one of my passions, as I said earlier, is just to help people. Right? I'm so fortunate and so blessed in life. Cheryl, you mentioned this earlier. I know that all of us have things that we're navigating through. All of us have things that we're navigating through, and it looks dark sometimes. And one of the reasons why I try to show up and be so transparent, and even share some things that may be embarrassing, maybe, or just really personal things, is because I want people to know, no matter where they are, no matter where they are right now, no matter what mistakes they've made, no what challenges life have thrown them, that life can be different. I live a life that supersedes anything that I could have ever dreamed. If I would have sat down 20 years ago and wrote down my best life, I would have cheated myself because I didn't have enough exposure. You know, I've been to places that I didn't even know existed. And so now, in the same words of Jesus, not my will, thy will be done. Not my will, thy will be done. And so I just try to make myself available, and I just try to be a vessel for God to say, Will, I need you over here, so go live in St. Martin. Or Will, I need you over here, go live in Arizona. Or I need you over here, go live in Compton. Or whatever that may be. I'm just open because I know his plan for me, as Jeremiah 29 says, I have a plan for you. And it's not a plan of evil. It's a plan of peace, and it's a plan of love, and it's a plan to give you an expected end. And I know God's will for me is far better than my will for myself. And so I just try to stay in the flow.
Well, you just quoted one of my favorite scriptures ever. And Jeremiah 29:11, that's everything. It's everything. Um, I have it written on my wall. I have it, around me. As a matter of fact, my notepad says that saying I have plans 29:11. Like, this is one of my favorite scriptures. So I'm real serious. I'm like you. I speak what I live. I can't tell you about a story I've never experienced, but I can definitely share with you what I live daily. I want to say to everybody, I really appreciate you chiming in week after week to support the platform that I'm on. My goal is to reach 50 million women, Black women, women of color. I can't do it alone. I need collaboration. I need my tribe. You can start off by going to my website, all things Cheryl Grant, Cheryl with an S, CherylGrant.com, and signing up on my newsletter. I have some amazing people on my team, and one of the ladies who does the blogging for me, she is a millennial. She's on fire. She's living her corporate life. She's living her best life, and she loves to write. She's just this amazing, talented, gifted individual, and she does my blog. So I really encourage you. There's great tips, great information for you to share from. Sign up for the newsletter. The second way that you can support me is please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. That doesn't cost you anything. All it takes is a subscription. You hit the subscription button, and it's a done deal. Please follow me on Instagram. Follow me. I think you can go on Cheryl Grant Daily. I think my personal page is maxed out. But you can do Cheryl Grant Daily. If you feel compelled, you can donate. I can't, I'm an entrepreneur. entrepreneur, so I obviously have to support my family and my life too. So any donations are great. No donation is too small or too large. We appreciate anything. And I want to say to you, next week we're going to be having Dr. Juliana Hayes. So please do keep this locked in every Thursday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. In the interim, Dr. Will, I want to say to you again, I'm looking forward to working with you on the platform. And I'm looking forward to somebody's got their next name. I'm looking forward to working with you on the platform and in December in St. Martin. And let's get as many people as we possibly can there with us to experience not only the beauty of the island, and oh my God, it is so gorgeous. You live there, Dr. Will. Anything you can share with people? Anything.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be a special, special time. St. Martin is beautiful. I call it my second home. I've been vacationing there for the last 6 or 7 years. Actually lived there for the last 18 months. I lived there throughout the pandemic, and it's called the Friendly Island, and it has 144 different nationalities literally living on the island. It's one of the most unique islands in the Caribbean. It's split between Dutch side and a French side. Literally, there's a border in between the islands. On one side, it's literally they're French. They speak French. They're using the euro, and then you have the Dutch side where they speak Dutch, and they have their currency. They do speak English as well, but it's phenomenal. It has 37 beaches. That's all I need to say, right? It has 37 beaches. I've had the opportunity to go to every single one of the beaches, and I'm telling you, do yourself this favor. Do yourself this favor. If you're a person that's never traveled before, travel is one of the best gifts that you can give yourself. I know we're still inside of the pandemic, but St. Martin has some of the lowest numbers in the world. It's an amazing place. So Cheryl's going to give the link for the event in December, but it's going to be there it is right there, livingvictorious.com. It's going to be a transformational event, and I don't say that lightly. I'm at a place in my life where if I don't believe that I can be an asset, I just don't show up to show up. I don't just do things to do things. I don't need to be anywhere, right? And so if I partner with someone, I believe in their vision, I believe in their mission, I don't believe in wasting people's time. And Cheryl's going to be coming all the way from Oakland, and people are coming literally from all around the world to be a part of this event and to pour into you so you can make the rest of your life the best of your life. So make sure that you sign up. As Cheryl said, there's some slots still available, and it's going to be literally a transformational time. And I don't use that word lightly. Your life will never be the same.
Well, I want you to know I am a firm believer in the work that I do, and I practice what I preach. I'm looking to work with Dr. Will, and not only in partnership as we go abroad to do this workshop, but how I can hone up my own skills and level up, because every coach needs a coach too. So I'm excited, Dr. Bill, and I'm looking forward to our further discussion in that regard. And I just wanted to say, you were truly a blessing. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your dedication to transform the lives of others through example. I so appreciate you, and I just want to say thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having
Blessings,
me.
everybody. Thank you.